Hello, my name's Ella and I'm in the strong rooms of the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust today. This is the rare books room where we have lots of very pretty, very old, very rare books. And today I'm going to show you a few examples of how Shakespeare's works have been illustrated over the past few centuries. There's over 55,000 books in here about all kinds of different things. Stratford-upon-Avon's history, Shakespeare's works in print, criticism of Shakespeare, there's all kinds of things. But today I'm just going to show you 5 or 6 specifically relating to how Shakespeare's works have been illustrated. They're very cool, they're very pretty, and the first one I have to show you, this is it. This is the first time that Shakespeare's works were ever printed with illustrations. This was published in 1709 and the editor was Nicholas Rowe. It's quite a simple looking book, but there's some detail on the spine here which you can see. And in this book, every single play, well not in this book, this is one volume of several, this is volume the 4th, I believe, yes, and this particular volume contains Henry IV, Part 3, Henry VI, Part 3, Richard III, King Henry VIII, Troilus and Cressida, Coriolanus and Titus Andronicus. And for every single play in this book, there is a single image opposite the title page that represents the play as a whole. It's been engraved and reprinted for this edition, and this approach to illustrating Shakespeare is known as having a frontispiece. That's the technical term. So I'm just going to show you a few of the pages. This is the title page for the entire volume, volume the 4th. So I'm going to show you Titus Andronicus in this one because it's a nice gory one. Here is the double page spread with the title page here. And in the image here we can see, this is Titus Andronicus, cutting the throat of Chiron or Demetrius, which is one of the 2 sons. And we have Lavinia, Titus's daughter, who is holding the basin while the son is having his throat cut, and his blood emptied into the basin, which is very nice. So, this is very gory, and you can see the Roman architecture as well. You get a sense of the setting. And this was the way that audiences were kind of introduced to the play. Why do you want to read this play? And this apparently is what is particularly interesting to an audience in 1709, which is still the case today, really. If you see Troilus, Titus Andronicus advertised, there's often gore, there's often the Roman architecture. It's what really speaks for the play. So, Nicholas Rowe's 1709 edition, first ever illustrated edition of Shakespeare. Next, we skip forward around 140 years. This is the Pictorial edition of Shakespeare, complete works, edited by Charles Knight, and this is the National edition. Again, this is a multi-volume collection. We have volume 2 here, the tragedies, Troilus and Cressida, Cymbeline, Coriolanus, Julius Caesar, Antony and Cleopatra, Titus Andronicus, and Pericles. So, in this edition we see a slightly different way that Shakespeare's plays have been illustrated. Here's the title page. We have a few different illustrations there, more thematic of the different things in the plays. We have a skull, a goblet here, and a sword, and a mask at the top. And in this version, each scene at the beginning and the end, there is an illustration that tells you something about the place where the scene is set. There are rarely people in it. It's more about the environment. And I'm just going to show you Julius Caesar in this one. So, Julius Caesar, set again in Rome, and here on this double page spread we can see an interior scene, and this is before Brutus's house. It's quite claustrophobic, it's quite, you get a sense of it being an indoor scene rather than a big outdoor scene. And just across the page here is the beginning of the next scene, which is set in the Capitol, the Senate sitting. This, you can see all of the architecture, it's very grand, you can see the sky, and it's a big vista of the environment in which the scene might be set. And it really helps the reader imagine a real-life setting for the scene, so that when they read the text, they can imagine the place in which it's unfolding. So this is quite close to how Shakespeare's plays were staged at the time. During the Victorian period, there was an approach to staging Shakespeare known as the Pictorial approach, and it's very much, it's quite close to how Shakespeare might be painted. It's very dramatic and emotive and very much focused on setting and accuracy and location. So all the way through the play we have this at the beginning and the end, and there are also notes at the beginning of each play with some annotations to tell you about what happens in them. So, Charles Knight's 1850 National Edition of Shakespeare's works. That's the second one. Now we're going ahead to 1939. These are very pretty. There's a wallpaper design on the front of each one. And again, this is a collection of Shakespeare's complete works, but these are printed just one play per volume. This one is Antony and Cleopatra. I have a couple of others from this series to show you as well though. And here we start to see pictures dispersed throughout the, every few pages you'll find a picture, and they relate to maybe a specific part of the scene or an image that's not possible to show on the stage, and it's more of an artistic response to the play itself, rather than showing you the setting or showing you the most dramatic scene in the whole play. So, in this picture we have Cleopatra arriving by barge to meet Mark Antony, and it's opposite the page with a section of that scene. And this is a scene that's not actually, it doesn't appear on the stage if you go and see Shakespeare. It's something that's described in the text, but not staged. So when you look at this illustration, you get to see a whole part of the play that you wouldn't see otherwise. So the reader gets a new experience of the text itself. And this is where we see colour. This is a woodcut that's been printed, mass-produced, and then individually hand-coloured. But we also have a couple of other volumes here that do the illustrations in a different way. This is Julius Caesar, which has some very bold woodcuts all the way through, which is a different style of design. And we also have a Midsummer Night's Dream, which has some very pretty pictures in it. Here we are, Hermia, in the wood, where often you and I upon faint primrose beds were wont to lie, emptying our bosoms of their counsel sweet. And here we have Bottom with Titania there. Right, now, fast forward through to the most recent illustrated edition that we have in the collection here. This is a beautiful edition of Hamlet that was published in 2012. It was edited by Jeff Dolven and illustrated by Kevin Stanton. And in this one, we really start to see technology being used to illustrate plays. All the way through, there are some more standard illustrations. We have a skull here, different images from the text. We've got annotations as well as illustrations on the side. But throughout the book, we have some laser-cut scenes from the play, which have a little note opposite to say what it is. So here we have the ghost speaks to Hamlet. And when you pull the pages apart, the images come apart too. And then later we have the player king performs. Hamlet mistakenly stabs Polonius. Ophelia drowns. The graveyard. So some of the most recognisable scenes from the play we have in laser cut form throughout this book, and it's a big chunky book and it's really good to hold. So yeah, this is what Shakespeare looks like in print with illustrations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.